potential bit of growth after the slow game against Chiefs earlier in the day. You've got a bit of hope for Oxygen.
Got a bit of hope for Oxygen indeed, who's playing with hopes. Their player, manager. Unfortunate circumstances, but, you know, yeah. He's been showing up here and there, not really to the extent, of course, FaZe would, but... And I mean, it is a very tough situation for Oxygen. You can only feel for them. It was their event where they had the opportunity to improve onto their last results as well, but well, that quickly flew out of the window.
Now,
Ban's coming through.
Yeah, I think what we've seen as well is a lot of Chalet today.
Lion ban.
A Lion ban removed there, so the control of the space is going to be a little bit more in their favor. But as I was saying, we've seen a lot of Chalet. We've seen more Chalet today than we did yesterday, but yesterday was a lot of Bank. It's sort of become the second stretch game of the period of 3 on these group days. Mirror, it's a fair removal and a standard one to limit some of the extensions. You're looking at power positions like at the top behind the pillar towards the library, or playing out of box sometimes, or if you're on a kitchen hold looking towards dining, Mirror has a stretch here. She has options and it's a fair removal.
It's definitely a fair removal. It makes a lot of sides suddenly a lot more viable. And now that is taken out of the account. Oxygen will go for that Valkyrie ban. A bit of information removal really on the defensive side. They might not really want to be going up against a FaZe who know exactly where you are due to the Black Eyes being in the positions. Because they're Chalet is also a big map. Right? There's tons of places where you can hide it. You can throw it up onto the ceiling. No one is going to be looking at the ceiling when you're walking in, for example, Fireplace, because there's no enemy going to be there, right? That's not a gunfight you're going to take. If you move into Fireplace, there's literally 6-7 angles that you could be fired upon. So you're not going to be taking your time to look at the ceiling, for example.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. That's a place, for example, where cameras can be hidden, where they are often very valuable as well. Out of the way. Let's get underway. Let's see if Oxygen can improve onto their previous result. There's that 7-0. Well, that hurt. And they don't want to have that one again.
Need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Starting off in the kitchen, the side I talked about, with some extension, and that shield is kind of filling that mantle of the role of being able to put the pressure that a Mirror might have been able to. It's a swing towards a default plant spot. You'll generally keep that little core red carpet corridor under your cool control to make sure that they don't get that swing and a chance at a hit. You want to turn that into a miss, and also what you'll see is it almost tread like one of those long arm extensions. A couple of smoke canisters if that's what's in your pocket. Otherwise, the couple of C4s that they've brought might be that bit of debonair devilry that drops the diffuser cold for someone that tries to get it behind the dining table.
5 seconds left.
Also something to still mention as we're still in that prep phase. This matchup is quite important for Rogue. If FaZe managed to pick up a singular point here and they managed to win their game against the Chiefs, Rogue is the first team to be confirmed for the playoffs of the 6 major in Sweden. So that is what's on the line for Rogue, a team that is currently not playing inside this matchup, but on the other stream against the Chiefs, as Kino gets absolutely destroyed by Cyber there, who quickly wants to counter his spawn peak.
Now, Cyber has been having a fantastic day so far, even amongst the loss that happened earlier. He was the standout tour de force and pulled a couple rounds into their favor just to keep them in the game at once. Bullet almost suffers in the close quarters engagement against Vertical, who's drifting close to a window that otherwise he's decided to pull away from around the big stacked boxes and under that default camera. It's actually the catch of Cyber's error round. Found laxing on a bit of a rat play rotation, but the trade comes back through from Yoga Astro, battles back and finds another fight over the library, reading each other's movements as quick as anything, and now Hopes is going to go for a rotate off with a bit of a split hold on Astro stairs.
Well, he's the last one left now, and that means he needs to return to the side because FaZe is literally about to strike. And as he's slowly coming across the corner here, he picks up the first. That's Bullet taking care of still 3 members of FaZe left out. He needs to find them one by one if he wants to have an opportunity, but surely FaZe is not going to be giving him the opportunity to, because they know as well that a win here is important for them to start locking themselves in, because if, for example, Rogue lose their game, they retake that first spot, but also Chiefs will be to come closer, and well, you don't really want him to take it there as Hope spots out the player. Unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to pick up the kills. However, though, goes aggressive and somehow still wins that gunfight. But cameraman on the long angle is locking it off.
FaZe opens up with a good attack. They built themselves a good pressure and amount of mantle. They love attacking. It is such a strong opener, and what is a strong meta for attackers and aggressive teams at this moment in time? And as they've demonstrated across the board, well, they're pretty good at it. I think the total that they've been able to take, it was a flat 6 they got, it was a flat 6 they got, and then I think it was 4 versus Rogue earlier today. It was 4 or 5. No, 5 was the Vitality game.
Yeah.
It was 4. It was a lockdown there. So generally, only 2 attack rounds of the 21 they've played have gone away from them. Now the 22 that they've played.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Well,
bombs.
let's see if they keep it up. It was a good round from FaZe, though. I still don't get why Hibana was running as aggressively through the side as she was, considering it was a 1v3, because if that would have been a kill going Hope's way, suddenly it's a 1v2, you know, one is outside, it's 2 1v1s he can force. That would have been a potential round there for Oxygen. But maybe FaZe, you know, they feel confident going into this matchup. They've beaten a team 7-0 beforehand. There's only 3 people on the stage right now. The other 2 are in the hotel. That doesn't quite give the same environment off as well. So, who knows, maybe FaZe is, well, could be underestimating Oxygen just a little bit. So, some rounds might get, it's such a cheeky spot for a drone.
It's this map. It's so frustrating.
So many cheeky
for drones. It's so many plants everywhere. There's so many beams everywhere. And for Hope's case, there's so many players everywhere. Suffers on an attempt on an early pick and peek there, but they do have at least some medical assistance and can get themselves picked up just a little, or maybe.
Why is there a Kona station next to the frost mat on the window? What is a mute jump? Never mind. I thought it was a Kona station from up high.
I was looking like, where you were looking for. I was like, where are the Kona stations?
I thought it was a Kona station because it was up high. It was not. That's my mistake. I was like, it's a creative way. Like, force them to pick themselves back up. It's right.
Not often, I will say, that you see this sort of hold without a shield at the top.
Very true.
Of the staircase with ADS buried behind it. It is the standard. It is a default for a lot of teams. Instead, the shield is playing in the position onto the window, which sometimes you see with another shield. Instead, they've gone very aggressive directly above the site. They're not sitting around the top of this room littered with rewards, but they're finding themselves inside directly instead. That doesn't catch anybody, unfortunately. Laxing went for a bit of a Hail Mary, and he's going to trust that the ADS has come back to life, and FaZe go back to the board.
Now 2 of these air jabs have been put up for the player that is currently inside of that library. Laxing waiting in the corner here, cannot really move out too much or he's going to be losing his life as Bullet. And could be the first one to take one. Cameraman looking to put up some pressure on the actual site here as Bullet is inside, cooks a grenade. That might be just in time as well to pick up the kill. There is no ADSs elsewhere, forces him outside. It's an air jab to pop off as well. The kill will finally rain in, and now it's a 3-on-2 rather in favor of FaZe.
But it's a 3-on-2 where FaZe has just taken the site. They drove themselves in. They now have a player on that pantry backline who's trying to offer the support they need, but at the same time, they don't need it. Cameraman locks off the final above, and well, if we can't get out Laxing of the corner, let's get out every other player first.
That's it. They knew exactly that he was still there, so at the moment it was just the last man standing. They decided to just go for the jump in there. So cameraman able to pick up that kill. As Bullet, of course, starting it all off the air jab, pushing the frost out, then trying to move back into the pantry. Of course, this shot very important as well from Astro, or Super Astro, as he calls himself in here. It's new, like it's his hero name, Super Astro.
Super Astro.
Yeah.
Showing up. Well, yeah, I know. Well, first of all, before I make that point, you can change your name on this build to do anything.
Yeah, you open the game and it asks you what do you want your name to be. And you're like,
yeah.
well,
I'm fine with names that are understandable.
I get that.
But I think once you choose one, stay with it for the tournament. For the sake of us, for the sake of viewers, please. Players that love to change their names a lot, stop it. This isn't to anyone in this
I guess, you know, for me it's fine if your name is clearly there and you add like 1 or 2 things to it.
Unless you're a new viewer. Then that gets confusing. What if you're on a name and you pull off the greatest play of your life, and then you...
That's what you're forever known as.
And then that forever... that. Think about it.
I like
okay,
to speak easy.
That's a side thing. That's a side thing. That isn't... That's just general. Because it used to be a big thing. Like, players would change their name every single game, and it's like, come on. Guys, come on. Stop adding letters.
Same as Vertical calling himself Horizontal out of nowhere, you know? So.
Attacker's objective is to locate
It would be kind of a fun joke. But
it would be a fun joke. Anyway, that's an entirely different story. I've forgotten what my original point is, so instead we're going to look towards the point of what Yoga's trying to do here, which is draw some attention and waste some time. FaZe are great attacks, there's no denying it. There's now 21 of 20. Beautiful. 3 rounds, but this entry does not go their way because they got a little bit bold and brash. Yoga was playing on a hold. He had the gadget enabled. They weren't able to find him on the drone, and now he's able to creep away. That's going to force a bit of attention.
It's going to force some attention indeed, and now FaZe are a man down. It's not something they, you know, necessarily will have to struggle with, especially not by the way they have been playing. And I mean, the pings are already coming through. They know exactly where he is. 2 members of FaZe, 3 members even are going to go on that hunt. So it's a matter of time really before the trade will be coming through. As the rotation already has happened, it's Yoga going down towards the bar. Might live just a little bit longer here, using that ERC7 to try and stay hidden.
Now, as Vertical is also trying to make some maneuvers happen around the rest of the map, they're going to see if they can stretch the drone game, and Souls is the next one stretched. Swung on, and he's trying to keep himself close. He's a bit concerned as to where that came from, but it was Yoga dropping the drone and going for a hop out, causing so much destruction. He's trying to find the attention, and he finds it. The Super Astro gets one, gets dropped. Vertical on the trade, offers some stretch, but look at the timer. 1:30's gone, and FaZe has entirely diverted their focus towards what was otherwise going wrong, and now they've got to see if they can use the remaining time and the remaining players to bring some modicum of success. The attention is paid all the way to the bottom of the snowmobile stairs, but there's still a lot of OXG sitting pretty in Vertical, living up to his name, 2 stories above, ready for a fight.
Just hiding for now, looking for the perfect moment to strike. It seems like there is some form of awareness on the side of FaZe as a grenade bounces back, and well, unfortunately for them, there's a little bit of team damage. Flank watch is still there. Cyber is the one who is tasked with the job, but at some point he will have to start moving in because there is still going to be 3 members on that side. Laxing gets some spots. He's just hiding patiently in the corner. Picks up 1, picks up 2, cleans them up and drops the diffuser, as Cyber will pick up the kill. However, onto Vertical. His patience has paid off, but the rest of his team has been completely wiped out now.
Lax locked down in the close corner was a play that he is famous for, and it's pressuring that time and that lack of drone and intel that otherwise we stretch this round by OXG. Cyber's error, it wouldn't be his first 3 versus 1 clutch today, but can he make it his second as he's trying to find a big rotation? 20 seconds, he doesn't quite have the time to go for anything other than the fight itself. The first is the shield that's going to get dropped, the player pulls away, the crossfire's there. Lax gets his 3rd for the round, and OXG finds their first round and 2 showdowns against FaZe.
He did his best there. Trying to, of course, take out the shield first, and after that push on to the actual player. But that really didn't work out for Cyber. And as you said, Oxygen able to pick up their first round of the 2 games they've played against FaZe so far. It's improvement, but there is definitely a lot more to go. It's only round 3 that has just passed. Round 4 is about to get going. FaZe, they still look strong. It was just due to the fact that they were a man down from the get-go. And then the flank, of course, the trait that came through before they were finally able to hunt down one of these roamers, hurt them yet once again. That's especially what Oxygen need to do. They kind of need to play like this. You need to catch FaZe off guard. We saw how effective it was with Rogue, with the aggression they were bringing together with the jump outs and some of those spawn peaks. Don't really see that much of it yet with Oxygen. However, the one entry that we did see was onto Bullet by a spawn peak, or at least watching the outside, hoping that he would run past. Exactly that happened.
Okay, FaZe, your drone game didn't quite come to fruition there, and Oxygen was able to put the pressure on and stress it to a level where they were able to put some bodies down. And I think that was the big cause there. A lot of the deaths, a lot of that pressure came from, hey, look at us, come pay attention to us. FaZe were drawn out of their game. And the compliment that you often pay FaZe's attack the most is that never really happens. They play FaZe's pace, they play FaZe's game, they know when to heat it up or slow it down depending on what the recipe they dictate is the one that they think will make the most delicious broth by the end. And this time Oxygen were able to tear that away, sort of force them into an uncomfortable situation on attack, which is a rarity. And you want to see if it turns from a rarity into something a little bit more common here.
Definitely want to see that, but quickly checking out the west main entrance room here. Spots out one. Ooh, that is the defucking. I was going to say, is he going to be trying to go for a verticality, playing right here, maybe even throw up a grenade near that bathroom? That is not the case, of course. Cyber is just waiting slowly and steadily below the west main stairs. He's ready to move up any second now, get rid of that, of course, the Prisma. That moment they can start moving in with two of them, but it's vertical. That tries to go for an aggressive peek and takes a lot of damage as a result.
Bullets preparing the grenade to go down to the back line of the stairs, hops through and vertical suffers, but survives. Not that though. The second grenade underneath, utilizing the soft destruction, and vertical is once again taken out of this round, unfortunately able to have a big impact possible. Now, as Kino still has it locked down from the Astro and Solarium stairs, even he's going to see if he can knock them into the sun itself. They are looking to pass right by him. The first slips on by, the second does too. And unfortunately, that is them opening the door. Cyber's error with a triple for the round. Yoga tries to lock it down as Laxing is above too with a bit of above idea. But unfortunately, it's all coming out below the bar right now. They cannot quite get the connection to what FaZe are putting on this attack. They've slipped on by, and it's a flawless as a response to a loss.
Defend. We do see the echo coming out on the side of Laxing. It's an operator that has a bit of clutch potential if you keep your yokais alive, but you need to make sure that you really stall these attackers down to the last 20 seconds if you want to make the best use out of it. If that's not the case, then, well, you know, you're often on your camera not really being super useful if FaZe decide to just rush in. Like, you might get a stun out, but if everybody's dying around you,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? You know, try and slow them down. I think that's the game, really, with this side of FaZe, but also be unpredictable.
So they've had a moment to talk. OXG as well, and amongst the technical pause, they can try and put a bit of pace into maybe how they want to excel into this attack, how they want to go for the approach in terms of slowing down FaZe's play. The ideas from FaZe are consistent, and that's the danger. As I've said, they're so good at dictating the pace in their attacks. They really just know where they want to be and when they want to be there, and because of that, it becomes this idea of, okay, well, how do we structure onto this? Sorry, I have to keep turning my headset up as the others... They're loud.
This way you can just follow two streams at the Bravo stream.
Desmond and Ace are trying their hardest to make that a dream.
They're definitely trying to make it happen. Either way, it is FaZe, of course, on the attack still. 2 more rounds they have to clean up. They're out. And as Cyber is about to be coming onto the balcony here, there is a player inside of the bathroom. The window does get opened up. There should be a bit of sound as a challenge comes through from the hallway opposite as well. Cyber, however, of course, playing around these pillars does not really get challenged or can be challenged from there.
Well, the grenade is just going to go for it there on the drop, forces them away from the window. It wasn't cooked all the way because that becomes the bigger risk. The longer you hear silence after a pin pull, the more likely you are to try and swing into it, because at that point you're thinking, well, if I sit here, I'm dead anyway. Vertical has pulled himself back to a slightly safer position, but they have taken over Solarium. They're eyeing up this approach here around the back side of this bathroom hole. They've forced themselves into piano, and as a Midas gets haphazardly thrown into the middle of the room as an attempt to catch that grenade, hoping it would go that way. Instead, it does not. It bounced into a place where nobody was either way. There's another one that goes round, doesn't quite get the connection with the shield. They still have that as a reverse that they can play onto the opening into the very small little box core of the site itself as FaZe steadily take more and more ground, and the first body goes, I believe, around the split on piano.
Yeah, trying to open up now a way to get inside to go for the plant. It's Yoga that went aggressive into the small cubby, gets picked up as a result, and Nitro gets shot out as well. It's Cyber to try and go aggressive, but the trade is there in the end. Bullet from the window on the piano, hoping to cut down the rotation, successfully does so. Hopes gets taken down, and Astro gets the final kill. It is FaZe that will be winning yet another round here, and are looking to close up this half at a 5-1, something we have seen quite often before today.
It's just tough, I think is the fairest way of putting it. It's tough for any team to go up against FaZe on their attacks. FaZe are blindingly good on their attacks, but also piecing together holds and defenses in the situation that OXG is in. It's a couple of days in Sweden and trying your best to do it in what is a situation where they had literally zero time to bring all of this together. It was on the day of the flight, if I am correct in that, of when they found out. And then you've got to go play against some of the best teams in the world. Here, you're always going to see that, I think, stretch the most into their defense. It becomes this pressure mantle because we're in a great attacking meta. It's something we've talked about a fair few times. We're in a great time for teams to drive fun attack strategies and new attack strategies. Where we used to be in a guessing game of the defenders ask the questions, now it's, can the defenders withstand the quiz that's being thrown at them? Here's a hot quiz, Pop Shot.
Yeah, that is the big question. The meta starts to shift just ever so slightly with every single patch, of course, that comes through. If you look at the changes as well, you know, Valkyrie, for example, no longer really being able to get those cameras outside consistently for a long time. Might actually remove her from being banned that often on some of the sites, even though I don't think outside cams are really an issue.
In pro play, internal cams are the powerful thing. But Consulate's not going to be so much of a nightmare in rank.
That is true. Consulate suddenly becomes a lot more doable with lesser amount of jumps with information, I would assume.
People jump out for information, but without information? No.
Doesn't happen either way. Well, FaZe already in sight though from the big garage, moving through towards the west main, but it seems like there might be some players present, and Yoga just swings on him. Gets that kill, goes back up to that top floor as Vertical here dealing a lot of damage down into Cameraman as well. Oxygen really putting up the pressure here towards FaZe.
And Cameraman is going to pull away. Not going to throw away their life in an engagement that they didn't quite have the confidence locked down, because that's not really FaZe's MO. They still have players that want to apply the pressure to the site itself. They have themselves locked around, trench around this little red corner, and they're droning to the back of the shield to see if they can go for an alternate take on a site that otherwise they're able to take pretty cleanly before. Here, Bullet's going to just get some drone intel on the flank, and Vertical's going to get his second. The Souls gets dropped, and that Goyo gets popped. They pull back and find some semblance of safety. It is Thunderbird, and they might be able to get their way towards a still standing station, but otherwise, as grenades start to bounce through, just a scratch would be the end of Vertical.
Grenades being tossed in deep there, unfortunately for them, not able to find anybody, but that's going to be the rotation card off though. His hope's gone, 3 on 4. There is still a man advantage here for the side of Oxygen, but Astro manages to find himself inside. All they need to do now is cover off and make sure that this plant won't happen, as a fully blind man is currently on that plant. They need to keep them back, but the Nitro comes through and gets the kill. C4, it could be coming in clutch there. The diffuser will not be activated.
Well, Cameraman and Bullet find themselves in a tricky situation because of what they have to go up against as a power play is 2 strong positions, the sturdy shield that's just on the wall of blue entrance there, and then obviously the connector with the rotation to the other side. Sure, they have angles to look towards them, but without the kills they can't do much more. And it gets forced back a little as the Gun 6 pops it open. Not quite sure what side of the door now they are, as they spray towards it and down him with the pre-fire. It's suddenly becoming doable. The swing and the pop, they get one more! Bullet 1 for the quad kill. One more player left. They're going to use this 30 seconds to go for the stick, and Vertical, who's been able to put a couple of bodies down and stop the diffuser before, now has to put 2 more bodies down and stop the diffuser again. The first one is the man on the ace, but he has other ideas.
Manages to find it there. It's the ace of Bullet. And with that, somehow a round that seemed like it would have been going Oxygen's way, especially after they dropped the diffuser, is being turned around by a single man there. Just decided to, you know what, let's just go in, you know? Like, they couldn't get the plan down other way. They needed to make sure that the blue area was going to be cleared out. The blue hallway needed to be cleared. And Bullet decided to do just that on his lonesome. His cameraman was getting ready to go for a plant. That leaves us with 5-1, locked out that first half, and moving over to the second now. FaZe, a singular point or singular round that they have that point, and that would mean that if Rogue win within regulation against the Chiefs, they are confirmed for playoffs.
Maths. Now is the time. Now is the time for maths. Somewhere out there, your compatriots of our other wonderful regions, Def Marta and Jesse Chick, are running numbers and maths.
They definitely are. And Sprabuni, of course, who's been
I have all your little, like, contacts for this stuff.
I do have my contacts. But we've now made it publicly available to all casters who want to have the information just with the click of a Discord link.
5 seconds to go.
I feel like that's a very nerdy Discord.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
It's like a high school thing. Like,
just us, like, can they qualify? And it's like, type. No. It's like, or yes, and this, and this needs to happen. So it's, yeah, it makes my life a lot easier. I certainly don't have to work out every single scenario anymore.
you just have a team.
Got people doing it.
An elite squad.
An elite squad.
Talking of
statisticians.
FaZe Clan are an elite squad of Siege players. Although, it's still worth sort of looking at how this game is shaping compared to the spread of the play that they had yesterday. Okay, they're 5-1. They're having a good game, but it's a different start to how it was yesterday, and that one, I guess, isn't. The opening kill goes into their favor. Vertical gets taken off here, but the point I was trying to make is the lead is coming from a couple of players that are having huge kill games. Bullet, obviously, 10-2 is terrifying, but 7-3 Astro is not that far behind. It's massive step up from a couple of players as they get a bit sharper, a bit more aggressive, and lean into just taking territory.
I was going to say, where did Vertical die? But he's very far inside already at the moment he got shot, so need to be very careful here. They're starting to open up the box, though. It's not the objective, however, as Kino is about to be sneaking right around the corner here on the double piano door. Give away his position there. The gun of the R4C quickly shown, and 3 fires are happening, whereas in the meantime, though, the FaZe members are starting to fall back. They're heading towards that bathroom, so Bullet isn't quite a safe spot here as he spots a shoulder yet once more. They will not be able to hit any of the shots yet.
Cyberzero has decided he doesn't want to give up the ground as of yet. A few pings are coming through, but behind that reverse play placed shield and Bullet on the shoulder, it's going to be Hopes that steps into a fight immediately. That's the man with the diffuser and the Selmas. It's Kaino that offers a little bit of support on the wings there, and that leaves Bullet in a place where he can retreat if he wants to, but the verticality is still something you want to have some modicum of pressure on. Yoga keeps them driving, keeps the pressure hot, and the spray starts to come through either side of the split. Hello, Ash, get out of here is the instant response that comes through, and Super Astro steps up for a double of his own before being dropped from above. The top to the bottom rocks the show, and the grenade is going to be the one that ends the blow. Now, 30 seconds, and they got to see if they can bring a 2 versus 2 into something that keeps them off of map point. Laxing is trying to go for the recollection of the diffuser. They can hear the air jab, keeping some bit of safety on the close quarters here, and tucked in behind a shield, hoping they have an angle and an idea. Bullet is quite injured, but with where they're playing and with the knowledge of the diffuser, it just takes Cameraman to swing wide and get one more. Yoga is all that is left. He's looking for the first fight, but they're not looking to find it. They know the timer is on their side. They see the player. The pre-fire is there. It doesn't need to be spot on because their play before was.
I mean, the second member already it's long gone.
He's off.
He ran all the way to the base.
On that snowmobile.
I get on the snowmobile, running out of Chalet there. He's like, time is running out, so I'm getting out. There was no opportunity there to plant anymore. The pre-fire was just to waste some extra time and potentially get that kill as well. And with that, FaZe have managed to do what was necessary for Rogue to be confirmed, and now they're looking to do a little bit more. If they are going to be able to pick up the next one of the next 5 rounds, they are setting themselves up for a potential spot in the playoffs soon as well, because they were only 1 point behind Rogue, mind you. So there is still going to be 2 more games after this. Not today for them. That will be tomorrow, where they will have their opportunity to be confirmed. But it's definitely going to be there. And as it's currently 6-1, I'm wondering if I just heard Jess say anything. If that's the case,
I think
that means
we
the game is over.
I think the other game is over.
I think so too. And considering the live standings, I do think that Rogue is confirmed in that case. I'm quickly giving a nudge to production to see if I'm right.
I mean, we'll find out soon enough.
That's
because
true.
Well, FaZe, they might be close to sending us into the post-match report at this point. They've taken their first defense here. They led him with the opener. It was a good fight back from OXG across the top. It was those little bites, the sharp plays and positioning that was coming through for some of them. But at the same time, if you're looking at And it's always, you know, if you're
5
pointing
seconds
fingers
left before
towards
insertion.
things that didn't go right, the ace leading around and just sort of walking into a firefight against an angle that you know that FaZe generally like to hold. They like to sit there a little bit back, find the sliver of a pixel and say, yeah, this is where I'm going to fight.
This is the fight they want to bring, as FaZe need a singular round extra to be the next team to be on the list here to try and confirm themselves. Looked like they would have been the clear-cut winners of the group until they met Rogue. They still have an opportunity, of course, to bring it back around after tomorrow. Try and pick up points that Rogue do not. By the way, they first need to clean out this game. They first need to confirm this one as Oxygen. Well, that does mean they would be locked out. Grenades are being tossed in, hoping to get rid of some of that utility. We are on that bottom floor, of course, and the breaches are starting to happen. Oxygen is trying to be very quick around this. A minute has only passed now, but there's still members of FaZe are in a position that could try and go for a flank if they want to, and maybe even come in the back of that big garage.
A breath and a moment here. As FaZe, well, earlier we described their play as being very fluid. They like to keep moving and keep their opponents guessing. And here it's sort of what OXG are trying to find out. The hot drones are moving ahead of a couple of gunners to see if they can just pull a body away, pull some of that piece of FaZe's hold out of position and try and apply the pressure elsewhere. The spray over the top as the man behind the bar is not serving up drinks but an attempt at punishment as Astro, he pulls himself a little bit further away. He's hesitant to entirely leave that player isolated because, to be fair, one of their favorite things is to offer trades and support structures. But San, don't worry about it. I've got it locked down as a minute on and they're putting pressure onto Trench, locking the site. There's that player gone. There's one more as OXG get the follow-up with a frag grenade over the top of the shoulder.
Now they need to start striking back. That's exactly what Bullet tries to do. Hit one hard. It's still going to take a bit of damage here. Astro now finds out that it has been opened up deep and that is inside the border. That means there's an opportunity to go for the plant of this Bullet. He wants to get into a position where he can stop it from happening. It's vertical to get one more kill. The Nitro Cell somehow detonates and kills Lexin, whilst Hopes is getting that diffuser down. 45 seconds are on the clock now and the post plant is upon us. Bullet needs to have an incredible impact here as he swings around the corner, but instead loses his life. He knows one is above, and that is going to be picked up by Vertical. It's Oxygen that fights back, and they get their second round. They don't look too happy about it yet, of course, but it's a very difficult game for them, a very difficult event for them so far.
I think, yeah, it's one of those points where you understand their frustrations. Because they are at full strength, an exceptional team. It was going to be some amazing showdowns, and it's sort of that, you know, losses that are being handed to them, it's not entirely in their control. Everybody wanted to see every team at this event full strength. It's exactly the same conversations we always have when this pops up. It's the same with Invictus. It's the same at the recent events where we couldn't get every single team there because, unfortunately, the Australian teams weren't allowed to travel. It takes a bit of a dampener out of the sails. You can understand their frustration, but they're still here to play the best Siege that they can given the conditions. They're still here to enjoy a couple of days of Swedish food. And they're still here to see if they can at least put on a bit of a show before they potentially head back, depending on the results. It's not over yet, but it's not in any regards been made easy for them for things, unfortunately, entirely out of their hands.
See, it's not over yet, but it kind of is. They're unable to make it anymore to the playoffs. There's still, of course, a day to play. If Rogue is confirmed, that means Oxygen is out. That's how it works in that case.
Attackers are heading
They
out
wouldn't
to
be able
defuse a bomb.
to bring it out anymore. I'm making karate moves.
You are making karate moves and no one else saw that.
They won't know, by the way, Oxygen. They don't get the heads up that, hey, Rogue just probably wondered. We still don't know. We just assume so, as live rankings is what we're currently trusting upon. Either way, they don't get to see those either. FaZe, they have 4 more rounds to try and lock this up, to try and put themselves up with 3 extra points to make sure that they are the ones to go to playoffs as well. It would be great to see them try and lock themselves in as well. After the season they've had, after the hopes or at least the praises that have been sent their way, I really want to see them go up in these best of 3s against the best teams of the other groups as well.
The Pressure towards the pillar on the backside of the fireplace. Did it explode, or was it caught by a disc at the end there? I didn't hear either sound really pop off. No, oh, it's electrified, is it? There it is. Stuck in limbo, mute jammed, so nothing has popped off there, and well, now Bullet has hopped off there, droned out, doesn't want to stick around as the discs do start to get burnt by everything else that was otherwise in that play and place and location. Still, with that drone dead, they're going to need another way to get that intel.
Do need a new way indeed, and they still wanted to get rid of that shield, which unfortunately failed. Grenades are being tossed in, however, to for them try and get rid of the pantry player. We've seen before how effective that could be with Vitality, who as soon as they got that kill, everybody was suddenly on top of the site, and that is currently what they're trying to prepare for. The hatch is being opened up ever so slightly, not really an angle they can work with, but Sledge is definitely making that one work. But they have to be very careful though. FaZe members are still on that top floor trying to take challenges here. It's a Nitro to start blowing up, and it is going to be Cyber that wants to push in and gets the kill as well. FaZe are having the opportunity here to lock it out.
Again, this is the positioning thing I talked about, where Hopes is off there with the diffuser, trying to take these fights on these wings, but just getting clipped. It's a 4 versus 2 out of nowhere, and there's a creep down the stairs that makes it even tougher. Yoga, who has been the performer for OXG in this game so far, cannot perform to the end, but you don't blame him because FaZe is still FaZe. Tournament favorites flying that flag after the loss earlier today, and a 7-2 that potentially is going to start locking things in and confirming some of these numbers in this entire tournament.